What's up, gamers? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the absolute most brutal, controller-throwing, keyboard-smashing video games ever created. These are the games that will test your patience, your skill, and quite possibly your friendship with your gaming setup. I'm talking about the top 10 video games so hard they'll make you rage quit. And trust me, if you've played any of these, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Make sure to stick around until number 1, because that game is absolutely legendary for breaking players. Let's jump right in. Kicking off our list is Super Meat Boy, the indie platformer that looks adorable but plays like a nightmare. You're a tiny cube of meat trying to rescue your girlfriend, Bandage Girl, from the evil Dr. Fetus. Sounds cute, right? Wrong. Super Meat Boy is considered brutally difficult because of its pixel-perfect platforming requirements. You'll need razor-sharp reflexes and impeccable timing to navigate through saw blades, salt piles, and bottomless pits. One wrong move, and you're splattered. The thing is, you'll die hundreds, maybe thousands of times per level. Picture this. You've died 47 times on the same level. You're one jump away from the goal. Your palms are sweating. You make the jump, and you overshoot it by a single pixel and fall to your death, your controller. Yeah, that's embedded in your wall. Now, here's a pro tip though. Don't hold the run button the entire time. Sometimes slower and steadier really does win the race. Learn the level patterns because they never change. Muscle memory is your best friend here. Coming in at number 9 is Cuphead, the game that looks like a 1930s cartoon and plays like a fever dream designed by sadists. You play as Cuphead or Mugman, trying to repay a debt to the devil by defeating a series of bosses. What makes Cuphead so punishing is the unforgiving boss battles that require you to memorize complex attack patterns while maintaining perfect aim and dodging abilities. Every boss has multiple phases, and just when you think you've got it figured out, they transform and unleash a whole new level of chaos. Plus, you can't just tank hits because your health is extremely limited. Imagine finally getting a boss down to their last sliver of health after 30 attempts. You're shouting, "Yes, yes," at your screen. Then you get hit by a random projectile you didn't even see coming. Dead. Back to the start, you just stare at the screen in disbelief while your soul leaves your body. Want a strategy? Focus on dodging first, shooting second. A lot of players tunnel vision on damage output, but staying alive is way more important. Also, experiment with different weapon combinations. Sometimes that spread shot isn't the answer. Number 8 is Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy, a game that's literally designed to make you suffer. You control a man named Diogenes who sits in a pot and uses a sledgehammer to climb a mountain of random objects. The difficulty comes from the physics-based controls that are intentionally awkward and the fact that one mistake can send you sliding all the way back to the beginning. We're talking hours of progress gone in seconds. There are no checkpoints, no safety nets, just you, a hammer, and the crushing weight of your poor life choices. Oh, and Bennett Foddy himself narrates your failure with philosophical commentary. Here's the moment. You've been climbing for 3 hours straight. You're almost at the top. You can see the finish line. You make one slightly wrong hammer swing and watch in slow-motion horror as you fall all the way back to the start. That scream you let out? Your neighbors just called the police for a wellness check. The only tip I can give you is to take breaks. Seriously, this game is a mental marathon, not a sprint. Stay calm, breathe, and remember that rage is exactly what the game wants from you. Don't give it the satisfaction. At number 7, we have the legendary Dark Souls series. You know, a game franchise is hard when it spawns an entire genre of games described as Souls-like, set in the dark fantasy kingdom of Lordran and beyond. You're an undead warrior trying to break a curse. Dark Souls is difficult because of its punishing combat that demands patience, precise timing, and pattern recognition. Enemies hit hard, your stamina management is crucial, and the game refuses to hold your hand. There's minimal tutorials, cryptic lore, and bosses that will punish every single mistake you make. Plus, when you die, you lose all your souls, which is your currency and experience points, and you have to retrieve them from where you died. Picture yourself fighting a boss for the 20th time. You've finally got their pattern down. You're dodging perfectly. Then you get greedy, go for one extra hit when you shouldn't, and get absolutely demolished. You throw your hands up and shout, "I deserve that," because deep down you know the game is fair but ruthless. Here's some advice. Learn to be patient. Don't button mash. Every action you take, from attacking to dodging to blocking, consumes stamina. Always save enough to dodge. And don't be afraid to grind for levels and upgrade your equipment. Sometimes you just need better gear. Number 6 is Sekiro. Shadows Die Twice, from Software's samurai epic that takes everything you learned in Dark Souls and says, forget all of that. You play as a shinobi warrior in Sengoku-era Japan, seeking revenge and rescuing your young lord. Sekiro cranks up the difficulty by removing shields and forcing you to master a posture-based combat system with perfect parry timing. You can't just level up your way through problems or summon help like in Dark Souls. It's all skill. The bosses are relentless, fast, and will obliterate you if your timing is even slightly off. Hesitation is defeat, as the game loves to remind you. Imagine fighting Genichiro for the 100th time. You're in the zone. Perfect parries, perfect counters. You beat his first phase. You beat his second phase. Then he pulls out a lightning bow in phase 3 that you forgot existed, and you get one shot. Your actual response is just maniacal laughter, because at this point, what else can you do? The key tip here is learn to deflect, not just dodge. Deflecting builds the enemy's posture meter and opens them up for devastating death blows. Practice on regular enemies until the timing becomes second nature. Also, don't ignore your prosthetic tools. They're incredibly useful. Sliding into number 5 is the classic NES nightmare, Battletoads. This 1991 beat-up features 3 anthropomorphic toads fighting the evil Dark Queen. Sounds fun and goofy, right? This game crushed childhoods. Battletoads is notorious for its unfair difficulty spikes, especially the turbo tunnel level that requires insane memorization and reflexes. The game goes from a normal beat-em-up to a high-speed hoverbike section, where obstacles come at you faster than you can react. There are no continues in the original version, and it has friendly fire, so playing co-op often means your friend becomes your biggest enemy. The moment you and your best friend finally make it past the turbo tunnel together after hours of attempts, you're celebrating. Then one of you accidentally punches the other during a regular fight section. They die, you have to restart. Your friendship is now in question. The game laughs at your pain. Strategy time. Memorize the turbo tunnel. There's no way around it. You need to know where every obstacle appears. Also, if you're playing co-op, maybe don't. Seriously, the friendly fire will end relationships. At number 4, we've got Ghosts 'n Goblins, the 1985 arcade game that laughed at the concept of player enjoyment. You're Arthur, a knight rescuing Princess Prin from demons and zombies. This game's difficulty is legendary because of limited lives, relentless enemy spawns, and a cruel twist where you have to beat the entire game twice in one run to see the true ending. Arthur dies in 2 hits, and when you get hit once, you're running around in your boxer shorts. The platforming is awkward, enemies respawn constantly, and the game demands perfection. Here's your rage moment. You somehow manage to beat the final boss after countless attempts. The credits roll. You're ecstatic. Then the game tells you that was just an illusion, and you need to play through the entire game again on an even harder difficulty to actually win. You just turn off the console and contemplate your existence. A useful tip: abuse the weapon system. Different weapons work better in different areas. The knife might seem weak, but it's fast. Also, learn the enemy spawn points because they're consistent. Knowledge is power in this game. Coming in at number 3 is I Wanna Be the Guy, a freeware indie game from 2007 that exists purely to torture players. You play as the kid who wants to become the guy by collecting apples and defeating bosses. What makes this game insane is that literally everything can and will kill you. Fruits fall on you. Fruits fall up at you. Spikes appear where you don't expect them. The game actively lies to you and breaks your expectations of how platformers should work. There are instant death traps everywhere, and trial and error is the only way forward. Death count for most players is in the thousands. The moment you walk past a harmless-looking tree, an apple falls down toward you. You dodge it by moving forward. The apple suddenly reverses gravity and flies back up, killing you. You sit there in stunned silence, wondering what you did to deserve this. The answer is you downloaded the game. Here's your tip: save constantly. The game has frequent save points. Use them. Also, embrace the fact that you will die to discover what kills you. It's not about being good, it's about learning the game's twisted logic through repeated failure. At number 2, we have Ninja Gaiden Black, the 2005 Xbox game that redefined action combat difficulty. You're Ryu Hayabusa, a ninja on a quest for vengeance against demons and dark forces. Ninja Gaiden Black is brutal because of its lightning-fast combat that requires perfect execution, aggressive enemies that attack in groups, and bosses that demand absolute mastery of the combat system. Regular enemies can kill you in seconds if you're not careful. The game doesn't believe in easy mode, it believes in hard mode. And why are you doing this to yourself mode? Your health items are limited, and enemies can juggle you in combos that you can't escape from. Imagine fighting Alma, one of the game's bosses. She's flying around the arena at supersonic speeds. You're trying to track her movement. You think you have an opening. You attack. She grabs you, and you watch your entire health bar disappear in a cutscene grab you couldn't avoid. You just whisper how into the void. Pro strategy. Learn to abuse invincibility frames during your dodge rolls and certain attacks. Also, always keep your guard up when you're not attacking. Blocking is essential. And stock up on healing items before boss fights because you will need every single one. And finally, at number 1, we have Elden Ring. From Software's 2022 open-world masterpiece that has introduced a whole new generation of players to the joy of suffering, set in the lands between you're a tarnished warrior seeking to become the Elden Lord. Elden Ring takes the crown because it combines the punishing difficulty of Dark Souls with a massive open world filled with optional bosses that are somehow harder than the main story bosses. We're talking about enemies like Malenia, Blade of Mikgala, who is never known defeat, and will make sure you understand why. The game gives you freedom to explore anywhere, which means you can accidentally wander into areas way above your level and get absolutely destroyed. Bosses have massive health pools, devastating combos, and some can even heal themselves by hitting you. Your rage-inducing moment. You're fighting Malenia. You've died 87 times. You finally get her to one hit away from death. You're shaking with adrenaline. She does her waterfowl dance attack, heals back to half health by hitting you, and then kills you. You take off your headset, stand up, walk outside, and just stare at the sky questioning your life decisions. The best tip for Elden Ring. Don't be afraid to leave and come back later. The open world means you can explore, level up, and find better equipment before tackling tough bosses. Summon spirit ashes to help in fights. There's no shame in using every tool the game gives you. And remember, every From Software game is beatable. You just have to be willing to die a few hundred times learning how. And there you have it, the top 10 video games guaranteed to make you rage quit and question why you even play video games in the first place. These games are brutal, unforgiving, and absolutely legendary for a reason. They separate the casual players from the truly dedicated. So, let me know in the comments, which of these games have you played? Which one made you rage the hardest? Are there any games I missed that deserve to be on this list? If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, subscribe for more gaming content, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. And remember, it's not about how many times you rage quit, it's about coming back and trying again. Unless it's, I want to be the guy, then it's totally acceptable to just walk away. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.